Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the up-and-coming solar eclipse that's happening on December 4th. This solar eclipse is monumental because where it sits is right in the sign of Scorpio, about 18 degrees of Scorpio. And remember, I am always talking about the Vedic sidereal chart, not the Western tropicals, so generally it will fall back a sign. Now, if you really want to understand eclipses deeper and more profoundly, I recommend you look at my book, Rahu and Ketu, Our Karmic Destiny Through Eclipses, because you see, eclipses are one of the most important tools we have as astrologers for prediction. What is an eclipse? An eclipse is, of course, when the sun, moon, and earth all align. And what happens is they cast shadows. And through this image and symbology of the shadow, that is exactly what they reveal during this time in all of our lives and globally all throughout the world, because this is where things surface, where things come to the top that we didn't know about. And here we go for another round of eclipses. Right now, it is the eclipse season, right after you have the lunar eclipse, and then you have the solar eclipse. Now, it doesn't always happen in that manner. Sometimes you can have a solar eclipse and then the lunar eclipse that follows. A solar eclipse is on a new moon, and a new moon is when the sun and the moon come together with Rahu and Ketu. Eclipses are always based on the sun, the moon, earth, and Rahu and Ketu. And Ketu are actually Rahu and Ketu. The north node is Rahu, the south node is Ketu. These 2 points in space are actually the points where the sun and the moon cross. So they line up and they cast shadows. So this is such an amazing thing because the ancient astrologers, the Mayans, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Indians, all the ancient astrologers, without telescopes or modern technology, they knew when eclipses would occur based on the alignment of the sun and the moon. See, the nodes are actually, the north node is actually where the moon hits the ecliptic, which is the apparent path of the sun from our vantage point, where it hits it going upwards, and then exactly opposite, where the moon hits the ecliptic, which is the path of the sun, going downwards, that's Ketu, or the south node of the moon. And these positions are coming together twice a year. So we have a solar eclipse, then a lunar eclipse, generally, or it could be the other way around. But sometimes we don't even have a lunar eclipse because it has to be together with a certain degree with Rahu and Ketu to form eclipses. So you will always have the solar eclipse twice a year. And sometimes during an eclipse season, you can even have 2 lunar eclipses and sometimes no lunar eclipses. But regardless, the solar eclipse is the most important, and that is what we have happening December 4th. In the most profound, deep, and I mean psychological sign that deals with major transformations. Now, I want to say Scorpio is known for being passionate and intense. And this isn't a bad thing. This can actually be a very good thing, to have passion, to be intense, to be focused, laser with our intentions, because the place where this eclipse occurs is in the nakshatra called Jyestha. Now, this nakshatra is profound because it is actually said to be part of the deep, dark magic This is a magical placement in the zodiac, the most powerful placement. Jyestha is ruled by the god Indra, which is the king of the gods, much like Jupiter is in Greek mythology, the most powerful. And you have to know, if you know anyone that has a lot of Scorpio in their chart, they're extremely powerful. But let me tell you the positive, the negative, and what happens with Scorpio. Because Scorpio is likened, well, even the nakshatra Jyestha is said to be about jealousy. Because when you go back to the Indian myth of the waxing and waning moon, the 27 daughters were said to be the nakshatras. And there was one nakshatra where the moon, as it traveled from nakshatra to nakshatra, that it liked to spend more time in. And that one is the most sensual nakshatra of all, called Rohini, which is in Taurus. But opposite that is Jyestha, which is said to be the eldest sister of the sisters. And Jyestha didn't particularly like the fact that the moon spent more time with Rohini. So Jyestha tattled on Rohini, and Prajapati, the god of all, put a curse on the moon. To make a long story short, Soma, which is the god that traveled from nakshatra to nakshatra, just definitely, it just came to a point where the way that they changed this, that the moon would die, was said, okay, the moon will die but gain back strength. And that's where we have the waxing and waning moon. But to make a long story short, Jyestha deals with jealousy. It deals with the eldest one too, and it deals with the most wise, the most wisdom that comes with age and experience. But it is the most powerful placement in the zodiac. And when you talk about power, Indra, the god that rules Jyestha, was the most powerful. And so what does this tell us? That this portion of the zodiac deals with power. And those that do abuse power are going to have to pay the consequences. So you're going to find that this is an incredible placement in the zodiac, beyond belief, that you're going to see those that have the most power are going to have to answer some very, very important questions. This is going to be what's going to surface and what is going to be revealed. Because what is going to be revealed, we don't see the whole picture yet. Not till after this eclipse comes about, because eclipses pretty much mark a point in the zodiac, and as other planets transit over that point, it is like a landmine that explodes. And Mars is the planet. When it crosses over or opposes an eclipse degree, that's the vantage point of when things happen. And this is going to be starting to boil up at the time of this eclipse. And you'll see that by December 30th and 31st, this is where the major finale of this year takes place. Because that is when Mars will cross over that exact eclipse degree of 18 degrees of Scorpio. Now at 16 degrees of Scorpio is the point of where the fixed star Antares sits. Antares is considered the heart of the Scorpion, but it has been relevant through explosive events and warlike events. This is where it's all coming to the grand finale. This is where this whole year we're going to better understand everything that's been happening, because now the surfacing truth is revealed. Now, I have to say, all world leaders must be careful, because when we're talking about power, this is where the explosion comes from. And let me say this too. when we talk about power, power comes with a need to have to control other people. Power deals with money, power deals with leadership, power deals with those that have control. And believe me, they want to stay in control. And the fact that they're about to lose control is going to shake up the world. And let me just say, Scorpio is likened to the phoenix, that which dies to the ashes, but is transformed and reborn. And I always say that everything to do with the 8th house, Scorpio or Pluto, deals around issues of control. And the only way that we as individuals can override control, because the more you try to be in control, the more you become out of control. It's much like an eating disorder. The more you try to control things, the more you become, the more you destroy yourself. That's what it is. So there's these issues of control and destruction that are coming about. But what is the way out? And most people do not understand what I'm saying when I say the only way to alleviate the destruction of control in your own life is to surrender. And surrender doesn't mean putting up the white flag and giving up. Quite the opposite. Because surrender means you have to take charge of letting go of the need to be in control and merging with the divine and letting that power become one with you as you surrender to the higher power that is a part of you, but recognizing it's a part of you and letting that which is divine and which has knowledge and wisdom guide your life. It is simpler than you think. You have to let go and merge within your heart with that divine force and ask that it take control and guide you. And it will. Then your whole life transforms, your whole world transforms. And this world is about to transform because of this. But it doesn't transform unless it first goes through a major transformational event that is about to happen here on planet Earth. It is about to happen. It is about to explode. It is about to wake us all up. And it will be a spiritual experience. But many won't see it like that. But it is. It is exactly what is needed right now to heal this planet from the hate and the anger and the separation that we have all been going through. This polarization is all part of the emotional toxicity that has really led and bred the fear and this disease that keeps our planet in chaos. But it's all going to change. It has to change. There's no other way. We can prolong it for a bit longer, but it's still going to ultimately come to that point of what? Acceptance and surrender. And then that is the key to life. You know, there's these 5 modes that we go through when we go through a very emotional event in our life, such as the thought of death and dying. But we all go through this. First, we don't believe it. First, we say, why me? Then, second of all, we beg and bargain that we can get out of this situation. We plead with the divine. But what happens ultimately is, after the anger, which I think we're in the mode of anger right now, in the 5 stages of transformation. That's what I call it, the 5 stages of transformation. Disbelief, then there comes a point of bargaining, but then there comes not me, then there comes the anger, and then it all comes around to acceptance. And that's where the healing will begin. That's when the healing has to happen. And it will. And this eclipse, being in the deepest, darkest part of Scorpio, the heart of the Scorpion, will bring up all of this because of the darkness. Now, Jyestha, the nakshatra that this is occurring in, Jyestha deals with powers beyond this world. They say it's likened to black magic, but when I think of true power, I don't think of the power that controls, because that's false power. What is true power is when we become enlightened and we want to help others. That's what I call true power. It's actually called empowerment. When we're here to empower other people, that's what this eclipse energy is going to bring. How incredibly powerful is that? To come to a point of understanding, wisdom, ultimately, and surrender to become one with God. That's it. That's where we're coming to. Every single one of us will have this opportunity during this time. Even in our personal lives, you'll see that certain things have been culminating throughout our lives, and this is the ultimate lesson we came here to learn. Think about it. And one more thing I want you to think about is how, because of this transformational change that you're about to go through with this eclipse, how you're going to plan your future. Because as we go through these difficult, depressing, dark times, the only way to keep us going and to heal is when we make plans for the future. That's what astrology is all about, to plan our future based on the messages of the heavens. There's nothing more profound, beautiful, and enlightening than this. Astrology is a key that we have to help give us guidance and to plan our life as we want it to go, according to our connection to the divine, will only bring a life of joy and happiness. So I want you to really take into account what is happening and let go of the need to control everything, because you're going to see in the news all of the control mechanisms out there of governments, of politics, of social media, of famous people. You're going to see a lot of people. Lots is going to be revealed about the deep, darkness of sexual abuse. Why do I say that? Because that's the energy that's deep underneath the surface with the sign Scorpio and the 8th house. It deals with control of others, using sex, and all of these things that have been going on behind the scenes with very powerful people. It's going to come out. And the world is definitely going to take note. And it's going to be shocking. And I don't use that word lightly this time. Shocking. So be ready, but now's your time. Now's your opportunity to go within and ask to come together with your divinity of the oneness that guides every living being on planet Earth. And when you realize who you really are, that's going to be the awakening. So with that, I'd like to close. Remember, if you want to learn Vedic astrology from me, I have a new start date for my university. It is January 10th, Join our community of astrologers and you will learn how you can better prepare your future. So go to University of Vedic Astrology.com, and don't remember, when you go to my website, galacticcenter.org, sign up for my free newsletter where you can get all of my predictions delivered to your email address. And while you're there, don't forget to check out my beautiful new spiritual jewelry, especially during these Christmas holidays. So with that, I'll close. Thank you.